We're going to talk about spirituality. I'm here in this beautiful park at sunset in Denver. We're going to talk about spiritual awakening. I'll share with you some ideas about how spirituality can change your life. We're going to talk about frustrations with relationships, frustrations with loneliness, anxieties, and how we're trying to find people to plug into our emptiness. And that emptiness is so deep that another person will never be able to fill that in. And spirituality is, my friends, the way to fill that in. So now you see what happens when you are unprepared. Okay, is it still recording? It is still recording. All right. So we're going to talk about spirituality to basically solve the problem of loneliness, solve the problem of anxieties, solve the problem of feeling stuck. And as we walk into that spiritual place, I'd like for you to take a look at the environment. It's absolutely beautiful here. Can you hear the birds? So check this out. It's really a beautiful place here. Yep. And nature is really a great container for spiritual aliveness. And when we live in cities, we are so disconnected from each other. We're so disconnected from nature that the anxieties that we experience are 100 times more potent. I recently had a vacation. Frank came over from Miami and we had this amazing 7 days and we reconnected. I practically fallen in love with him for the third time, and I believe that the reason for that is because of being around nature and because of inviting him to spiritual practices in Boulder and also in Denver with the Sufi community. And we're going to talk a lot about that in upcoming videos, also in this video after I show you the place that we're going to, because it's really beautiful. There's this big tree laying on the ground and right next to this big pond with all kinds of animals crawling in the water, out the water, and making that experience a lot just so much more rich with life. And that's what it's all about. Spirituality is about life. It's about celebrating life. And celebrating life through remembrance of being loved. You don't need another person to remind you that you are loved. You can have a spiritual practice or spiritual concentration that reconnects you with the love that's eternal. That love that's always there. It's everywhere around me right now. You look around here, love is everywhere around me. We just need to find it. And that is the essence of spiritual practices. And that is the essence of spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening to recognize that what you're looking for in houses, in cars, in other people, just ain't gonna be there. I'm sorry to break it to you. You're just not gonna find it there because it was never there to begin with. It's the social conditioning that made you believe, or made us believe, made me believe too, that love, that these gadgets out there that these gadgets out there, cars, stuff basically, is going to make me happy. And it never does. And so we look for people to fill in that void. And that's what gets us into trouble, because we never have that void filled by them. And it even gets more frustrating because we never step outside to even notice that that's not how it works. So bringing back spiritual practices is the way to fill in that void with God in whichever way or form that you see it, and with some practices on a day-to-day basis. This could be meditation, this could be prayers, this could be chants, this could be dances. And I just happened to fall in love with the Sufi community. S-U-F-I, you may have heard of Rumi, a very well-known Sufi poet from the 1200s, coming from the mystic traditions of Islam and bringing in a lot of new perspectives on life. And I found that for gay men, that those practices are really transparent, really loving and affirming, versus relying on Catholic foundations or even Buddhist traditions. I found that the Islamic mystic traditions, even the ones that relate to non-duality, are really powerful. I know I'm talking about a lot of stuff and you probably don't care to hear about this, but let's go find that place. Let me show you where we're going. And then I think you will know what I'm talking about. So the bottom line is that peace and harmony is not going to be found outside of you. It has to be found inside of you. And God, or spirituality, oh, check this out. There's this duck over there. You probably don't get to see. So let me just walk you over there. So here's the pond. This is this section. We're going somewhere else. And here is where we're gonna close the deal on spirituality for you. I hope that you're ready, and I hope that you've been waiting for this all your life. May this message open you up to new ways of living, new ways of practicing life. All right, so here we are. So I'm gonna show you. Okay, so this is the place. This is my spiritual center. It's sunset here in Denver at the park. So let's continue the conversation about spirituality. I'm gonna actually take my backpack off. And I'm gonna sit down here. So the fundamental element of spiritual practices and spiritual awakening is to put an end to suffering. And so a lot of times when everything's going well, there's really no need to be spiritually awakened. There's no need to go anywhere and practice and worship. So usually for any given person, spiritual awakening starts with the suffering. For me, I've been kind of half awake spiritually for many, many years, practicing a lot of meditation, a lot of affirmations and chants. But at the beginning of March, I had a bike accident, and it felt like it was a divine intervention. A lot of other things happened at the same time, and I really became open and awake like I've never been before, to the degree that my spiritual readings, practices, prayers, meditations are now occupying a lot of my time. And I've never felt better, stronger, more integrated. A lot of ideas about relationships, about love have adjusted themselves. And also, as I mentioned before, may have mentioned before, I have fallen in love with the same man for the third time as he visited here. Recently, we traveled throughout Colorado to the dunes, to the national parks, and a lot of mountains, hikes, and experiences. So I've noticed a massive shift in the way how I operate in terms of acceptance, affirmations of other people's presence, love towards other people, even my parents, and also my work in terms of high performance, in terms of acting through that divine presence inside of me and doing things I've been procrastinating for a long time. So spirituality is a powerful weapon, not just for the sake of sitting in some kind of church and raising your hand up and looking at some crosses. It has legitimate, pragmatic, day-to-day application that can really take your life to the next level. And it's oftentimes forgotten because we ascribe spirituality to Catholic religions or to organized religions, and that's really not what it is about. When, as I have shared with you, I am participating in the Sufi community. Their practices are experiential, so their teachings are communicated through dances, through chants, through affirmations, through a lot of meditation, and a lot of hands-on touching and dancing together inside what they call Sufi zikr dances. Sometimes they're called dances for universal peace, which, by the way, I'd like for you to join. If you're in Denver or if you're in Boulder, look up Sufi dances, and Sarah is doing them here in Denver, and Timothy is doing them in Boulder. I would love for you to come and join us. If you're in other cities, you can also join by just looking up the name Sufi Zikrs, ZIKRS, or Dances for Universal Peace. Show up, pay $5 or $10, depending on where you are, and check it out for yourself. It's a very unusual dance that involves singing, chanting, meditating, holding hands in multiple circles with a live band inside the circle. So I have found that those teachings really clicked with me. They may not click with you, but at least it's worth checking it out. I recommend that you experiment with different versions of spiritual practices and then find one that matches your personality. But for me, the spiritual awakening was really powerful. I'm 40 years old. I feel like it's time for me to get integrated spiritually. I'm not into Catholic religions, even though I'm from Poland. I grew up in that tradition. I'm more into the non-duality, more into the traditions from the Middle East region, simply because they are psychologically potent in ways that the organized religions that came after cannot become. As I'm getting more experience with Sufi and reading more from their teachers, I'm noticing that a lot of the very powerful training courses, even the ones from the 70s and 80s like EST training, LifeSpring or Landmark Forum, they actually borrow ideas from spirituality, from non-duality principles of unity, of oneness, the presence of the absolute, how consciousness comes out from the absolute and creates form and identity, and how by the process of de-abstraction and going deeper underneath, we can reconnect with that absolute, draw a lot of power, and reconstruct our identity. So spirituality from the Sufi traditions, from the traditions of non-duality, are practices that are extremely potent. In the upcoming weeks and months, I will definitely be creating more videos teaching you those practices because I am really pleasantly surprised how effective they are and how immediate they are, especially if you combine them with the hands-on experiential dances with the Sufi community, wherever you are. So spiritual awakening is really helpful. Human relationships will never be perfect. There'll always be something wrong. There'll always be something, and you're going to always be chasing that perfect partner, perfect lover, perfect experience, perfect sex, perfect everything. You won't find it. So let me just help you with this. You won't find it. What you will find in spirituality is that love, that deep love that can satisfy you on a deep level. And then as opposed to looking for 10 criteria from your lover, you will find that 4 of those criteria, when he matches them, will be enough. And you'll be satisfied, and you will be tranquil, you will be harmonious with that man. And in fact, despite a lot of the difficulties with between Frank and I, a lot of the challenges we've had, spiritual practices have allowed me to notice the 4 pieces about him that are really amazing, that nobody else possesses, that I'm in total love in and or love with. And all because of these spiritual practices. These spiritual practices really don't cost you a lot of money. They are basically free. I mean, yeah, you pay for the dances and you spend a lot of time studying them, but they just have so much power. They will change your relationships. They will make you more powerful with your business. They will make you see the world in a healthier space. You will feel less anxious. You will feel more empowered. It's just, there's nothing bad about them, and there's just extraordinary number of benefits that it would be crazy not to give that a shot. So with this video, I'm inviting you to spiritual awakening, whether this is Sufi, whether this is non-duality, or whether this is whatever it is that fits with you. May that be your path. And I invite you to take the first step to go there. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. I am sending you all kinds of love, all kinds of affirmations about your presence. I value your time watching my videos. It is because of people like you that I am doing what I'm doing, and I'm very grateful for everybody who watches these videos and who appreciates the work I do. And in the upcoming weeks and months, we'll come together, hopefully in events, and practice these spiritual practices together. Until then, I'm signing off. Until I talk to you in the next video, as always, my friends, go out there, think big, stay present, and be a leader in your life today. Here is the rest of this beautiful spiritual place. Maybe one day you'll come here with me. Signing off. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.